As with any design in SolidWorks, there are often a lot of approaches that will lead to the same end result. Even a simple design like you see here could be accomplished with a variety of approaches, but I will walk you through just one of the ways here. Regardless of the approach, one of the goals here is to fully define any sketches, and we are also looking to have the part match the orientation you see here in this isometric view. Let's get started. I'll begin by opening a new part file. Before I start a new sketch, I'll make sure the units are set to the mm/gram/second standard by going to Options, Document Properties, and selecting Units, or by going to the status bar and clicking this button here. The first step here is to begin a sketch for the extrude feature. But what plane should I begin the sketch on? In this case, I will choose the right plane because I plan on sketching the tombstone shape that will make up the overall profile, so that when I extrude it, the end result will match the orientation I showed you at the beginning of the lesson in the isometric view. I will select the line tool and begin the first endpoint on the origin. When I get to the top right corner of the sketch, the next thing I will need here is an arc. Feel free to play around with the various arc tools on the sketch toolbar, but since this arc will be tangent to this endpoint here, I prefer to use auto transition. To do this, I simply bring my cursor back to the endpoint of the line, and when I move the cursor away, SolidWorks automatically transitions to the tangent arc. I'll pay close attention to the blue inference lines that appear before I place the other endpoint of the arc, so that it aligns with the first endpoint as well as the origin of the part. As soon as I click the second endpoint, SolidWorks returns back to the line tool. I'll finish the sketch profile by placing the last endpoint on the origin. Next, I'll add a couple of dimensions to fully define the sketch. To create 3D geometry, I'll switch over to the Features toolbar and select Extruded Boss Base. The Boss Extrude Property Manager appears. I'll set the end condition to blind and type in 10 mm for the thickness and click OK. At this point, the part is complete, but did it meet all of the criteria? I'll press the spacebar on the keyboard and switch to an isometric view. As you can see, the orientation of the part matches the orientation of the original view shown in the example. Finally, I want to double-check that everything in the part is fully defined. I can double-check this by expanding the feature in the tree to reveal the sketch. If there is a minus sign in front of the sketch here in the tree, that means the sketch is not fully defined. To fix it, just edit the sketch and look for any geometry that is blue. As you can see, the sketch is fully defined, so the part is complete. One more thing I'd like to mention is that if you'd like to give your model real-world properties such as a mass and density, you should set a material. To set the material for this part, I'll right-click on Material in the Feature Manager tree and select Edit Material. I'll go into more detail about the type of materials available and how to create a custom material at a later time. But for now, I'll browse to plain carbon steel, click Apply, and close the dialog box. You can see that plain carbon steel is now listed in the Feature Manager tree. Now, if I go to the Evaluate toolbar and select the Mass Properties icon, you can see the mass of the part listed here, along with other properties of the part.